following program is brought to you by Cloudcast Media, a podcast leader in developing shows to elevate local brands, local stories, and local storytellers. Cloudcast, bringing ears and minds home.
The San Diego Union Tribune and Retirement Strategies Group present the Union Tribune Community Spotlight Show with your host, Drew Schlossberg.
I'm Drew Schlossberg of the San Diego Union Tribune, and we are pleased to have in the studio with us today Yonatan Farber. He's the Executive Director and Chief Instructor for Caliber 3 USA. Yonatan, how you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, good. So talk all about what is Caliber 3 USA?
Okay, so Caliber 3 basically started in Israel in 2003. In Israel, we had the biggest and most professional training academy for counter-terror. In Israel, we teach Israeli soldiers, law enforcement, security guards. It's different from here. We have security guards in public transportation, government building, and so on. So we teach security guards, and we opened the first branch in U.S. in San Marcos 1 year ago.
Right, and so and we all know that Israel takes its security very seriously, as we all should, for that matter. And my cousin lives out in Israel now. Changed his name from Phil. What was his name? Robbie Leverage to Zvi Leveron. Thank you very much. He's
Zvi.
Yep, right, Zvi. Yep, he's a tour guide out there, and my ex-wife is convinced he's part of the Mossad. I go, it's not part of the Mossad. No, have you seen how he looks and all that? And he's a tour guide, just a front for him. I said, I don't know about that. Anyway, I'm going to tell you, I think I was telling her about you were going to be on the air here. So, you born and raised in Israel?
Yes, I born and raised in Israel. I came to U.S. basically 1 year ago.
Okay.
Before here, I worked in Caliber through Israel. I was training for security guard and law enforcement.
Right.
Before that, I served in the Israeli police in a special unit for many years.
Right.
And I served in the army as a parachute, as a commander, as a sergeant. So we bring a lot of experience to our training for Caliber 3. The CEO and the founder for Caliber 3 is Colonel Sharon Gat. Colonel Sharon Gat have 28 years experience in the IDF in Israel.
Right.
So all the instructor, Colonel Sharon Gat, will bring a lot of experience for our training, effective training.
Right, exactly. And so why choose San Marcos of all the places in the world? Why come out here?
So we wanted to start in San Diego. First thing also because of the climate over here. It's very good for our training.
Okay.
Usually we're doing indoor and outdoor, so the climate is perfect for us for our training. Again, if we'll be very successful over here and we're going to be very successful, we're going to open another location.
Nice. And so how many folks came over with you to do this? Just you? Did you bring a staff with you?
So I came from Israel. I'm the chief instructor.
Right.
We have another few instructors that from Israel. All the instructors in Caliber 3 have served at least 5 years in the Israeli IDF.
Right. Right, exactly. And so now do you work with businesses? Do you work with individuals? Do you work with organizations?
So basically we have all the options. One is civilians, basically a family or person that want to come to learn self-defense, that are coming to train with us.
Right.
Organization that we're doing corporations event that coming for up, like group dynamic.
Sure.
This kind of training. We teach security guards training. And the most important, I think, for now, for what we are dealing today, we're doing training for the synagogues and churches to defend against active shooter. So we have like a build-up 40-hour course. It's an amazing course. It's very effective. The course combined from dry fire, live shooting, Krav Maga, the Israeli self-defense, how to control a suspect with or without basically a weapon, de-escalation, suspicious signs, how to scan your location, and so on. So it's a very effective course, and I see good reviews, a good recommendation on this one.
Now, do you work closely with our law enforcement agencies? Do you work with our sheriffs? Do you work with the police? Do you work with other folks?
Yes, we're working with the law enforcement in San Diego, and this year our goal is to increase this work.
Right, and do you work with them to train them as well?
Yeah,
okay.
They're very interested in our methodology because it's different.
Right.
It's different.
In what way?
In what way? First thing, it's the mindset. I'm not taking also for the mindset, I will explain it for security guards. For here, security guard is more observe and report. In Israel, the security guard is different. The mindset is different. Even you're doing a few days a week or 1 month, doesn't matter. The mindset, if something happened, it is an active shooter, the first reaction is rack your gun and and engage.
Right.
Because the time you're not there, these people are being killed.
That's right.
So think how much damage you can make with a semi-automatic. So the reaction have to be very fast, and the mindset has to be very strong.
Right, and obviously that becomes from hours of training where it becomes habit. It's actually probably just a motor reflex by the time. So you guys don't even think twice about it. You're just doing it.
Exactly.
It's like golf when you train yourself to hit. So.
Exactly. So the muscle memory is very, very important.
Right.
And the mindset. So with the training, we're doing scenarios.
Right.
So the scenarios also is a powerful tool that we add to our training.
Right.
We can create a scenario with pressure, and then we analyze the decision-making under pressure.
So, and that's obviously a pretty big shift, at least as you use the example with security guards, right? They see something, they make the call, 6 minutes later someone comes and carnage has happened, and all that business. I get that. I'm not trying to diminish about how important security guards are. They play an important role in this aspect of it. I imagine a lot of people have embraced this, to say the least. Sadly, that we've had way too many incidents of hate crimes. Much has been reported in our newspaper, the San Diego Union Tribune, and again, also just as equally unfortunate, a lot of it is certainly directed, at anti-Semitic Semitic organizations that have done this, which is that's another topic we can get on for 85,000 hours, and of course the Poway Synagogue has been much chatted about as well. Now, when you work with these groups, I imagine people are probably, climbing over to you to get, is there a waiting list to get this training?
Yes. Now we're getting busy and busier
right.
about this, really,
right.
Of the synagogues. In the beginning of the course, we show him case studies. You mentioned Poway. So
right.
Poway, another incident. When I came to U.S., in my presentation, I had maybe one or two. 1 year, I have like 5 to 6. And I think it's getting worse and worse. And basically, we're trying to wake up our community, especially the Jewish community, wake up really and start protect our community in very simple ways.
Well, and you're so right on this aspect of it. What would you say? We're chatting with Yonatan Farber. He is the executive director and chief instructor of Caliber 3 USA. Has started a footprint here in San Marcos, and the whole idea of it is to train, with the rise of domestic and foreign terrorism, is to train individuals, train businesses, train places of worship, how to, react quickly and swiftly and decisively, of course, when there's been incidents in this. Do you find that, and maybe this is a bad generalization, but Americans as a whole, listen, are we going overboard on this? I say this because I have relatives in Israel, and obviously have some connections there, and say you don't ask questions when someone is doing something like this, or else it's too late. That doesn't mean you're going crazy and start doing nonsense as well. Is it tough to change that mentality
In U.S.?
Yes.
I have 2 points of view for this one. Civilian, I don't see a problem because they're open mind.
Right.
For security guard and businessing, I think it's hard. Like even to set up like a security in front of the business, or even in front of for the shul, for the synagogue. I think it's a different mindset that we're trying to change over here.
Right.
But I think in small steps and they understand with the reality of what happened today. They started to understand what is going on and the need of that. Right,
exactly. And, and again, you guys, live in a culture where you have to be, everyone goes, to the military in Israel, of course. For people who don't know that, you should know this. And they're very focused on security, surrounded by some folks that don't want to do good things out there, and we all know that. And here, does it does it make it tougher for you folks because we have so many freedoms here? And, no one's checking ID. You don't know who this guy is down over here. And I don't want to sound worse here, but I'm sort of amazed more things don't happen, to be honest with you. Is that part of the issue too?
It's part of the issue. But in the same time, we're trying to find creative solutions on this part. I will give an example. One of the synagogue, when we're doing assessments for the shul, for the synagogue, we're coming over there. So when we talk about it, like I would always ask them put a sign of a search, because it's a private property, and if someone come and you want to do a search, the sign basically will help you. So we're trying to find like a simple solution with the synagogue that it will be very nice. Still, everything will be nice.
Right.
But still, you have a security measurement in the front of the shul or the business.
Right. Exactly. Now, and a lot of this, of course, is, as you had mentioned, it's training people, obviously, to, use, guns or whatever the case may be. But much of it is self-defense too, right?
Everything, by the way, we're always doing for self-defense. We will be the defender side. We'll never be the attacker side.
Yeah.
So all the mindset, this is the side. We always will be the surprise side. We never be the attacker.
Right.
So this is the point and this is why the mindset is very important. It will always happen when you're not ready. Especially in the synagogues, you're sitting down with your family in the time of the prayer, and bam, something happened. So this is why it's important. And again, Krav Maga, the shooting, self-defense point of view only. And I wanted to add that all the techniques that we teach is according to the Israeli mindset.
Right.
So, and it's the Israeli technique that we teach the Israeli soldiers. And basically we brought the same knowledge and same syllabus, same methodology to here.
Yes. So we got about a minute before we go to break here. What's Krav Maga? I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I apologize.
No. So Krav Maga, basically, it's an Israeli self-defense. It's a collection of techniques based from different martial arts, from boxing, wrestling, and so on. And we create simple techniques for self-defense. For example, would be knife disarming, gun disarming, release from different chokes. And I want to add this one. We always say the technique will be just a technique without the mindset. I can teach you the technique in 5 minutes. But if you don't have the right mindset, we call it to switch from 0 to 100. If something happened, switch your mindset, strong head, like here, and basically find a solution. Yeah,
well, we're going to talk more about that when we return with Yonatan Farber. He is the Executive Director and Chief Instructor of Caliber 3 USA. I have a footprint now in San Marcos, and we want to spend some time in the second part of our show to see how our listeners can support your efforts. How's that sound?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with another edition of Community Spotlight Show here on Podcast Media Radio, brought to you by Retirement Strategies.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
Welcome to Cloudcast 180. We're here today with the president and CEO of Father Joe's Villages. Welcome to Deacon Jim Vargas.
Thank you, Charles. Good to be with you.
We have 3 minutes. Let's hit it fast and furiously. We're going to talk this morning with you about San Diego being a very expensive city, which creates a housing crisis, which is exacerbating the homeless crisis in San Diego. Let's talk about your leadership on this issue.
Sure, absolutely. We do have an affordable housing crisis here in San Diego. In fact, if you ask about the number one issue why people fall into homelessness, it's lack of affordability. And so they fall onto the streets, especially when rents go up, and rents are very expensive here. So we at Father Joe's Villages focus tremendously on housing. In fact, about 40% of our intervention is placing individuals into permanent and affordable housing. All right, so shows you the extent of what we do. And of course, there's services that go along with this, because in order for people to retain their housing, their dwellings, they have to have the services that they're necessary, whether it's mental health services or substance use disorder services, whatever that is. We have a Turning the Key initiative, whereby we will be introducing 2,000 affordable housing units into the community during the next number of years. In fact, we just closed on a deal to purchase and refurbish a motel in the South Bay area. It's going to add 83 permanent supportive housing units. Next week, we'll be closing financially on a groundbreaking that will have 14-story building, 407 units of housing as well, taking about 550 people off the street. So housing is extremely important.
Which means you're investing a lot of capital. How are you finding that capital to solve the housing crisis in San Diego for homeless folks? 90 to
95% of our funding is public funding. Various sources, whether it be from the state, it be local, county, city, municipality. So most of it is public funding. There's tax credits that are involved there. The capital stack is quite large, actually.
So you're finding the land, you're finding the capital, you're changing lives. How are you minimizing the risk of future homelessness for these clients of yours? We're minimizing it through our services.
We need to make sure that in order for them to retain the housing, that they receive the services that they need, that are holistic and are comprehensive to their specific needs.
That's fantastic.
Deacon Jim, in the last 10 years, your organization has taken 11,000 folks from homelessness to a home. So I congratulate you. Any closing thoughts for our audience?
No, that's what it's all about.